Hello YouTube, Adam here. Welcome back to Space Engineers. I have begun a major project. This ship has been completed. This is the Reclaimer, my scout ship. I have this little salvage ship out here because I started tearing up the deck out here. But what I'm doing is I'm going to drop this down, make a nice little sunken docking area so that basically the ship can pull up like that one is right now. Pull up to this level, so I have to drop this down like 5 blocks, and then I'm gonna make a nice little cargo area and stuff so that I can offload vehicles and things that I don't need at certain times. But let's have a look. Well, you know what? Let's first get hydrogen so I don't fall out of the sky and die. Let's have a little fly around here. So I basically have completed this ship. I decided it's going to be capable of space flight as well, because this will probably deal with dropping off a lot of cargo and stuff in space. But it's got ion thrusters, atmospheric thrusters. On the back here, it's got a couple hydrogen tanks and some hydrogen thrusters. So I'm hoping that will be enough to be able to get it up into space. I've put a bunch of point defense with the little interior turrets that can shoot down missiles and stuff should we encounter anything like that. Here we have the front cargo bay. It has a little lifter ship that's going to be able to put scrap drones, batteries, those sort of things. Anything that I don't want to break down in the field I can put here and lock down for safe transport. If we go further to the other side, there's actually a rear hangar bay as well, and I kind of like this one because it's got the exposed tanks. Neither one of these bays can be pressurized, but that's fine. It's got oxygen tanks that are the reason that I have these vents in here is so that it can suck in air and pressurize stuff that way. If we take the stairs down, this room here just has a couple of extra gyroscopes and timer blocks. There's a lot of timer blocks on this ship. And if we go further down here, this corridor mod's been updated, so it has nicer stuff. We got an air vent, we got floors on them. They're actually enclosed all the way around now. Down here we got a couple more gyroscopes, our reactors, and batteries. So that's kind of the engine room down at the bottom of the ship. And if we go upwards, this is the main deck we were just on, where the hangars are. Here we have the captain's quarters. I got this nice little porthole up here so I can have a look up there. And that's pretty Spartan because even though these sort of things aren't necessary, I think it makes ships a lot more kind of realistic if they have things like mess halls and stuff like that. So there's our galley. A bunch more timer blocks in there. We go towards the rear here. We have the head, which has a porthole as well, which is not necessarily something you want in a bathroom, but we have it anyway. And then this room has our medical bay and another console, a backup console, if it's needed. And if we continue on upwards, we'll reach the conning tower, which we have here is an airlock to get outside if we're in space or whatever. This shelf has a bunch of hand tools. This has firearms on it. We continue upwards, we reach the bridge, which is pretty basic, but we have those drop-off points for resources there with those a remote block, that sort of stuff. I added some fun stuff, like that activates the turrets and has a little Star Wars klaxon. We turn the turrets back off. The gravity generator I can turn on and off from here. And then flight mode locks, it shuts all the airlocks and it closes the rear and front hangars, so that's all secured for flight. And that's pretty much all there is to this ship. The main purpose is going to be to go out and salvage wrecks and also to transport, because it has one large cargo container, transport cargo up for any space construction that we do in the future. Now this is pressurized right now, but I'm just going to open this because I don't really care about wasting air on the planet here, and these things are all set up with timer blocks and stuff, so it just makes it a little more serious sounding if stuff like starts beeping and stuff when you disconnect here. So let's see, what are we doing here? not taking off. Did the battery die on this? Seriously, what is going on with your ship? Thrusters are on. Why are you not flying? Oh, you redocked. Okay. Is this going to be like an annoying cycle of locking and unlocking here? What is happening? Why are those rear landing gear not unlocking with the other ones? Unlock. This is insane. Maybe I replaced those landing gear? Landing gear. Yeah, that didn't sound good. That kind of sounded like something exploded. What just happened, game? This game's ridiculous sometimes with glitchy things like that. But I'm just going to empty this ship out for the moment and just park this over here, because I have some work to do. So I'm going to end up moving the entire reclaimer out of the way somewhere and get the mining ship out and start digging out this ice and everything. Looks like I get to do some repairs here. Wow, that did a lot of damage for nothing happening. Weird. Connectors and landing gear are still really iffy, and it's way better than it used to be, I guess, but it's still screwed up a lot of the time. So anyway, I'm gonna get to work. I'll finish up these repairs, and then I'm gonna start digging out our little pit that we need to get going. Well, we might as well just demonstrate this thing flying real quick, since it's not going anywhere far away. This will only take a second. It is pretty nimble. It's empty right now, so it's pretty sprightly and stuff. And I have everything set up in groups, so we should be good to go here. And just lift this thing up and slide her over somewhere relatively flat over here and just leave it for now. Hopefully not crash into the other ship. It's always a little hard to judge distances when you're dealing with big vessels. The engines sound cool. Alright, let's get a view of our landing gears. And as long as one of them's locked, I am happy. Let's go ahead and shut her down. And I have lots and lots of grinding down of old steel blocks and mining to do, so I will be back when we make some progress on that. Alright, so I got the dimensions more or less set here. I've got about the first third of this dug out, and that was the hardest part because I was actually mining that properly. I'm going to be using right click to do the rest because the hydrogen tank is full on this, and it's half full, a little more than half full on that ship now from all the ice that I got, and that's good enough. So I'm just going to make it quicker and clear it out. So what we're looking at here is a pretty big hole in the ground, I guess. I think I'm probably going to end right around the rear landing gear here. I'm going to have to make a little pit in here for the thrust wash to go in. These temporary blocks are just here so I can get my spacing for my landing gear right and make sure everything's measured correctly. So yeah, there's a lot of welding that needs to be done. I'm putting heavy armor blocks around the sides here just for reinforcement. So I'm going to have to get the welding ship out and put a lot of steel plates down, but progress is being made pretty quickly here, really. It's not going too bad, so just going to keep at it. Alright, so all of the mining is done, and we have the skeleton laid out for the last few blocks we need to put in place. So I'm going to go pick up a whole mess of grids and steel plates and stuff like that, because I got a lot of welding to do still, unfortunately. But it ended up being a lot bigger than I thought it would. You don't really realize how large ships can be. That's a pretty small large ship too, and until you actually start digging a hole to put it in, it's like, that is a fairly large thing. So I'm just gonna grab pretty much metal grids for this because I have a bunch of heavy armor that I need to go weld up, and then I'll make another trip for probably several trips for steel plates to finish all of that up. Let's see here. I can't type right now, apparently. Alright, so we don't really want the steel plates at the moment. We'll grab this. These are light. They take up a lot of volume, so grab a bunch of them. They're not very heavy. And I forgot to open the door, so do that. Alright, so I'm just going to finish this up, and then we'll move the ship in and start figuring out. I need to put some sort of a... It has an ejector on it, but I'd kind of like to figure out how to put a connector on the bottom so that it can transfer stuff a little more simply. I'm feeling good enough about large ships and like connectors and landing gear, although I did have that weird incident at the beginning of this recording session with a connector. For the most part, connectors seem to be pretty on the ball these days, so hopefully that will work out. Something kind of therapeutic about using a welding ship. I don't know what. Just kind of fun to cruise along the side of something. Did we use all those already? No. I was going to say, seems kind of ridiculous. I wasn't seeing the little flash of the welder. Although we will go through the... Yeah, we're done now. Damn, man. But the cargo containers on the main base were full. And I've used a lot of steel plates and metal grids and stuff, so at least that's freed up quite a bit of space. I do have another pirate base that I've secured but not salvaged from yet. Those bases in a ship that I had salvaged pretty much paid for with resources, you know, pretty much covered the construction requirements for the reclaimer and for all the work I've been doing on the base. I'm also going to be going through the base and probably in the next episode really working on cleaning up a lot of the stuff, because there's a few mods I want to get rid of just because I don't really use it, and it's probably good to not have mods I don't use in the game, just because Space Engineers is kind of unstable at times and I don't know what mods do it, but I have a feeling it's a cumulative effect for the most part. So I would like to uninstall another corridor mod that I don't really use because I have a better one now, so get rid of the blocks that are left from that mod pack probably. But I'm gonna just weld and weld and weld because nobody wants to watch this. Alright, so we're finishing up the welding that we're doing for now, which means in a moment we'll be able to get this ship out of the way and then see if we can get reclaimer parked in here and see if it fits properly. I measured everything out. I'm hoping that the landing gear pads are in the right place and all that stuff, but we won't know until we try. So let's go ditch this over here real quick. Nice and easy. Still got some stuff in it. Shut her down. Let's grab a hydrogen bottle and see if we can get this thing in its new home. I'm gonna end up building probably one more identical pad to this and then one for the Venture as well. But I'm not doing that right now because I am a little sick of digging and I want to go do some salvage from the other pirate base once this is up and running. So let's see here. I'm going to put little guides on the thing once it's parked on the landing pad thing so that I can kind of have a better idea of where I'm located inside of that. Let's lift up enough that we don't crash into the turret. It's a little hard to judge distances when you're dealing with these kind of scales with the views that we have here. I could throw some cameras on, but I don't really like the cameras all that much, and I'm not sure how much it would actually help anyway. Parking this ship's a little easier because I'm not going to be under the pressure of having the hydrogen running out like in the other one. when that thing's fully loaded, it's a little bit of a bear. All right, are we down? Smash into that. Get our docking good. And make sure we're fully down. Thrusters off. Landing gear locked. And the thing, it has a home now. Now, hopefully we didn't burn up the pad too badly on the way down. I'm thinking about putting some welders. I've seen people put welders underneath of the floor so that it self-repairs itself. That's something I'm definitely thinking about doing, because it's not like we have any sort of shortage. Actually, I want to go out the front because we should be able to just walk out now. Oh, look at that. That is much nicer. So let's go have a look at what's going on down here. Looks like everything lined up just like I wanted it to. Yes. And did we scorch the hell out of all this stuff? No, nothing seems damaged around here. I'll probably put heavy armor blocks around the side here just so that if I'm a little off side to side, it will be a little more damage resistant. But that seemed to work pretty dang well. So we have limited places on the bottom that we could actually put a connector, because there's only so many places that there's actually any sort of conveyor system that's available on the bottom. So it would either have to be on the bottom or the sides, and we do have this ejector here, so I could probably replace that with a connector and maybe put a connector on a piston that raises up and docks that way, because that way it would be clear of everything. I'm going to dig down probably 3 or 4 more blocks here just to have a little pit where the engine exhaust would go. It's not really necessary, but I don't know, it just seems kind of neat to do that. And I guess this thing is pretty well good to go at this point. So I'm trying to decide if I want to go do salvage or if I want to do more construction first. I think what I'll probably do is end this episode here with us heading out to do the salvage operations over there, I believe it is. So we need to bring the grinder ship with us. And for some reason the game was crashing earlier when I was docking ships with this ship, so hopefully that won't happen. You never know. Space engineers always find new and exciting ways to do things you've never seen it do before. It's like every week when they fix some things, like the weird welding issues I was having before where the game would start slowing down and stuff. But then some exciting new adventure comes up. Okay, docking didn't crash. Let's get that thing charging. And we can head up to the bridge, and I'm going to bring the turrets online. Well, maybe I shouldn't bring the turrets online because there's probably still neutral, or not neutral, enemy materials on that base. Even though the turrets have been taken out, it probably will shoot at the base still. So let's make sure turrets are definitely off. And let's also lock everything down. It's nice having a home for this ship. It's a little bit more practical to deal with. Now, parking large ships on the ground is just kind of a pain. So all that stuff is off. Lift more or less straight up. And let's set course for adventure. Oh god, it's all wobbly. I really should be using the arrows to maneuver here, but I'm not. So hopefully there's a decent amount of uranium. This thing has about 7,000, I think, uranium on it, all in all, just from salvaging ships and stuff. I actually only started out with about 500 I put on it. So it's gaining uranium as we go here, so hopefully that will continue to be the case. And this is going to be a little bit of a long flight, and I'm going to need to remember to brake well before we get there. When I get to about, like, I don't know, 3 kilometers, we'll start slowing down, because it is not exactly great at stopping. Pretty soon we'll be doing space trials on this thing, I think, because there's going to be... I want to get a comm relay station going, and then probably a comm relay satellite in orbit, because I can get a satellite to be just barely out of the atmosphere, and it should be able to still relay the signal, and then we can build the space station a little bit farther out and still be able to radio control things on the surface if we need to order anything, that sort of stuff. So that's kind of what I'm thinking now, and I'm also hoping that we won't get close enough to trigger any of the drones on that second base. There's just so many of these bases around here. Probably go attack that other base next time. Alright, so we are closing in. Let's go ahead and at 4 kilometers we'll start slowing down to see how long it's going to take. Hopefully by the time we get there, we will actually have stopped. I don't know. We've only lost 10 kilometers per, or 10 meters per second in a whole kilometer of travel distance. So, let's angle the nose up so we get the big thrusters kind of helping out a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit more reasonable. Angle up a little bit more. Maneuvering ships like this in atmosphere is still very stressful to me. They're just unwieldy. And I could have put more thrusters on, but the thing is, when you're trying to deal with cargo capacity, the more thrusters you put on, that's more weight you have to lift, as far as, you know, reverse and forward and stuff thrusters. So, and more power you have to have, which means you end up getting into more reactors, and it's just this never-ending cycle of stuff to deal with. So it made sense to me to just be careful and maneuver. It's a big ship anyway. People always put like 15,000 gyroscopes on ships, on large ships, to make them handle like fighters, and I think that's kind of silly because it's a giant massive ship. It shouldn't really handle like a fighter. I am fine with it handling the way that it is. Now, none of those bases went on alert, I don't think. I don't see any pirates coming. So I think we kind of got away with this. I really should put a fighter probably on this so that it can defend itself a little better. I mean, it has a lot of turrets, but it'd be kind of nice to be able to park it somewhere outside of the base's weapons range and then close in and kill the thing without having to risk the main ship. That's the other thing about these big ships. It's like I really would rather not have it get destroyed. I haven't taken a blueprint of it yet. I will probably do that when we land and put a projector on it just so it's a little easier to repair. I'm going to have to dock somehow with that to transfer the cargo off. Oh god, why is there a turret on? What just happened? Okay, I am going to reload because that is a glitch. A bizarre glitch, but a glitch nonetheless. I have lost all control of the ship, and it's going at falling speeds. That's so weird, this game. Well, anyway, I'm going to end it with that glitch, and I'm just going to deal with salvaging that stuff. So, I will be back. Thanks for watching.